Welcome to Breath of Fresh Air, the podcast bringing fresh insight and real talk to the world of dental practice management. Your hosts, Amanda Demora and Sarah Hamlin, are two industry insiders who've seen it all from the front desk to the C-suite. Amanda, the founder of Essential Dental Services, now Daydream Dental, is an operations consultant, business coach, and practice management expert. Sarah, former COO of Essential Dental Services, continues her leadership journey as the COO of Daydream Dental, a cutting-edge dental billing company. Together, they deliver unfiltered conversations on dental office operations, leadership, revenue cycle management, team dynamics, strategy, industry trends, and more. Designed for practice managers, dentists, assistants, and front office professionals, this podcast is the ultimate resource for anyone looking to optimize and elevate their dental practice. Take a deep breath, because Breath of Fresh Air is here to shake things up and help dental teams build smarter, smoother, and more successful practices.
Are you a dental professional tired of complicated contracts and hidden fees when you're ordering supplies? At Frontier Dental, they're making things simple.
With over 40,000 products from over 80 trusted brands, you'll always find your favorite products without the hassle. No contracts, no minimums, always free shipping. Plus, their team is made up of former dental hygienists and assistants, so they truly understand the needs of your practice.
Are you ready to simplify your supply ordering? Use promo code FDBOFA at checkout and get $20 off your first order.
Visit frontierdental.com to shop now and experience a better way to buy dental supplies.
Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Breath of Fresh Air podcast. I'm Amanda Demora.
And I am Sarah Hamlin.
And this month, our podcast turns 2. We're 2 years old. I sent Sarah a little blurb about that via text, and we both just couldn't believe it that it's been 2 years.
We have another baby that we raised kept alive for 2 years. It's a miracle.
Yes. It got dicey there for a little bit, but we've been really consistent with recording, obviously, this year. So that's just been kind of nice to see. But
And, I have loved all the guests that we've had on lately. That has been super fun, but I'm also excited to have one that's just the two of us again.
Yeah, today's just us because we have not had a episode where we haven't had on a guest in like 3 or 4 months. Our past 3 episodes were guest episodes, I think. So
Yep.
Which was quite a change up from our usual, which always was just us.
We're just trying new things, out of our toddler stage.
Not in life, but on the podcast.
Oh, well. Yeah, you're just going back into the toddler stage now.
Right. I'm counting down till she gets to the toddler stage.
Oh. All right, well, give us a little update. How are things in your household? Are you guys ready for Halloween?
Yes. So my son is 4, and I feel like the countdown to Halloween starts so early now. You start seeing stuff out at the stores in August. So this kid is like, when is it coming? When is it actually going to be here? 'Cause talking about trick-or-treating for months, and he's probably like, what's going on here? So finally,
Mom's lying about this. Yes. He just is convinced that you're making this up. He's never going to get candy.
What did the twins decide on for outfit or costumes?
We literally just decided on costumes like 2 days ago. I finally had to put my foot down and say, you guys got to tell me, otherwise I'm not going to have time to get stuff here and to be able to make this work. So under duress, they finally decided on a vampire for Hattie, which was out of left field, but I think the dress situation, it comes with a very fancy choker necklace that she was really excited about because, those things are coming back in style.
All about accessories.
For this child, it is, yes. So she's going to be a vampire, and Hendrix decided he wants to be the Grim Reaper. So
interesting.
I know. That one came out of left field for me too, but I'm all right with it. Easy enough.
Has Hattie ever done like sparkly princess thing, or is it usually like...
Yeah, one year she was a fairy, like a fairy
Okay.
princess. And that was, yes, sparkly pink wings something. But yes, she was
Something with
about that.
wings.
She also was Elsa one year, which she really loved, with like the long dress and the long hair. And so she was all about that.
Got it. Interesting.
What about you guys for this year?
Theo wanted to be a dinosaur for the 3rd year in a row,
Oh.
and I had to put my foot down. I said, please, let's pick something else.
Uh-huh.
And then he decided on a shark.
Okay.
Very close. Aren't sharks descendants of
Yes.
dinosaurs?
Yes.
So that's what he's going with. And then little Harper's going to be an owl. So that should be
Cute.
cute little owl. And Mom, do you guys dress up?
Not usually.
You and
no.
Marcus? No.
You know, I was just talking about this last weekend. I think the practical side in me just has a really hard time with Halloween costumes for adults, because I'm just like, the effort and money to spend on something that you wear one time for like, you know, an hour. I don't know. I can't wrap my brain around that. I can't get excited about it.
I feel like I never really was into dressing up, especially as like an older child, and not now. But I do wear my Sanderson dentistry shirt, which not a lot of people get, and that makes me upset. Come on. Where's my hocus pocus?
You know, they made a
People.
comeback after number 2 came out, so maybe
God.
maybe people notice now. I don't know.
And they're supposed to be making a 3rd when the second
Really?
one was just terrible.
Oh.
They should not. Or I don't want to say they shouldn't have made a second one, but like it wasn't good.
Yeah. I think it's so hard for us to relive those things that are so nostalgic and so good. Like nothing's ever
Right.
going to live up to it, honestly. So,
It still could be better. This is the same, like Sarah and I loved Sex and the City and then the new HBO series And Just Like That, which is just
underwhelming.
awful. But we watch it because...
Exactly.
Because now it's officially coming to an end, and I'm kind of sad about it, even though I was complained about how terrible the acting was. I just don't want to let go.
I know. Me neither.
So,
I don't want to grow up.
Perfectly fine to start that series right over again from the beginning, which I've done so many times.
I know. This is all over social media, the comfort shows that we have. You know, we just rewatch all these comfort shows. Same.
Not for me, but a lot of people watch Gilmore Girls. That's a comfort show.
For me, it's always like we watch Bones a lot and CIS, like the more like cop procedural kind of shows. Those are, me and my husband watch those a lot.
Those are
and
your
rewatch.
comfort shows?
Yes, I know, weird, but I will say, used to be Criminal Minds, like a little bit darker, but ever since I had kids, I just can't watch it the same way.
A lot of people actually say that with those type of shows. On a professional note, Sarah and I are going to the DO Dental Entrepreneur Woman Retreat in a few weeks in November in Charlotte.
Yep.
And I'm excited for that for a multitude of reasons. Number 1, I get to see Sarah. Number 2, some woo-woo things, I suppose. But just getting to see a bunch of connections that both Sarah and I deal with and talk to and know from the dental space, that will be fun. And just seeing what it's all about.
Yeah.
In general.
And just, I mean, I say this after every conference, but just getting FaceTime with people. Like, I just, don't realize how much being home by myself in my office, just talking to people on the computer screen, like, you just miss that personal connection. So I'm very excited to be in person, see you and see everybody else, of course.
We always kind of scope out the culinary scene wherever we are. And thus far, I have not really found anything that I was like, we have to go there. The other places we've been, we definitely find our spots. But I am not seeing anything. I'm going to have to ask for some recommendations from friends who live there.
Yes. Somebody in the comments, share, tell us.
Tell us your favorite place to eat in Charlotte, North Carolina, because that's what we need to know. Places that have a good vibe, food.
The food is priority number 1 for us, always, everywhere,
Ron Zacapa rum on the menu.
I don't know if it'll be warm enough for pool time this time, but maybe we can make that work.
Ron's a cup of rum just doesn't quite speak to the season, I guess.
No, but that's all right. We'll make
I
it
can
work.
make exceptions. Yeah. All right. So today, since our podcast is turning 2, we kind of wanted to take a look back on our most listened to episodes and offer just some fresh perspective on the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And our most listened to episode, which I found to be so surprising, I guess, and I'm not sure why, was office manager or dental consultant, what does your practice need? I don't know why I thought this was a surprising most listened to, but I guess I'm kind of glad that it was so popular.
Yeah, me too. I wonder if this is like, I mean, I don't know. We know that staffing struggles are like a problem across the board. And I wonder if people like listen to this and think, maybe I don't need to hire somebody. Maybe I could get away with, you know, a couple of video calls with a consultant instead of having to pay money to hire someone. Or like on the flip side, maybe I'm getting ready to pay money to somebody. Would I rather pay money to somebody in office? Like, I don't know. It is an interesting number 1 for sure.
I think my biggest memory, from that episode was my outlook really being practices who kind of, not that you can't, but they keep a consultant kind of like on board for years and years and years. They're afraid to let them go because they're afraid of what's going to happen after. Or they hire a consultant, but they really want the consultant there all the time and doing what is really office manager or practice manager type duties.
Yep.
And that's where the line kind of needs to get drawn. If you think you need someone there weekly, you probably need a kick butt office manager. And
yeah.
I suppose those are probably hard to come by. And that's why people might steer a little bit more towards a consultant because you feel as though you're getting an expert, which hopefully you are. Not all consultants are experts, which we've seen. All of my friends are, but there are some others who are just giving questionable advice. I guess my advice there is definitely do your vetting when it comes to a consultant. Ask your fellow practice owners who have used this person, what their experience has been, and really ask a lot of questions and details there.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing as like, and also, I mean, I think any consultant worth their stuff would be willing to like have a couple of meetings with you prior to you signing anything, prior to you like really like signing on with them, just to like feel each other out. Because just like anything else in business, just like anything else in, you know, in dentistry, as we've seen, people are just not always going to be a good fit for each other sometimes. You have to make sure that you align on, you know, your business philosophies and your like mission mentality when it comes to like what you want to accomplish in your practice and how the consultant approaches that. Like there's just going to be things that you guys have to make sure you align on. And the only way you're going to figure those things out is probably by a couple of calls and really like chatting about those things. Like I don't really think there's like one out of the box solution for everyone. So taking the time to kind of, like you said, vet them, but also just chat with them and get a feel for them is going to be so key when you're making this decision.
It's a lot about personality. Usually if someone asks for my recommendation for a consultant, I usually give them 3 or 4 options and I say, please chat with all of these people because you need to find out who is going to suit you the best. Also, there's various different consultants that specialize in different things, whether that is like burnout or growth or culture or whatever it might be. Again, like Sarah said, knowing what you want to get out of this and what you specifically want to focus on is step 1. That is like numero uno.
I think also like remembering too that there might be a world in which you need a combo of these things, right? Like if you do know that your end goal or your priority is to hire an awesome office manager, you might need to hire a consultant first with the like project goal in mind of having that consultant to help you find and train a really awesome office manager. So they might actually kind of go hand in hand a little bit at the beginning before things kind of work out, you know, in either direction. So I think, you know, to keep that in mind too is it might not be one or the other. It might be a little bit of both, honestly.
I'm not sure that we talked about that last time, but that is absolutely true. And a lot of my friends who are consultants, that is what they do. They're helping onboard various types of team members, but certainly front office and practice managers, they're probably best. A lot of them were practice managers before they became consultants. So they're probably best suited to help you find one, but also maybe invest in that person if they're not quite to the level that you think they need to be like your rock star office manager, even though I hate saying the term rock star. Our next, no surprise here. I actually thought this was our most listened to episode, but it was a couple ticks below, and that was the future of dental billing with Teresa Duncan, our guru. And that I actually would love to have her on again. She should just have we should have a
standing every 6 months meeting with her. Yeah.
Yep.
I was actually thinking that yesterday when we were coordinating times and getting this all set up. I was like, wait, maybe we could just have Teresa on again. Just let's just invite her regularly to join the pod.
Yeah. Did we call it Teresa Duncan Looks Into Her Crystal Ball, which I just love. I'm picturing her there at her desk with her crystal ball. And in the crystal ball is like the ADA claim form.
I feel like a lot has changed since we had her on for that.
It has.
For that one too. Like, you know, there's just news, like the future is flying at us and flying by us like so quickly.
Absolutely. So it was so exciting. She was actually our first guest, and that was awesome. And that couldn't be more fitting to our podcast and what we talk about a lot. But since then, you're right, so much has changed. There's been so much craziness with Henry Schein and Vine and all kinds of other things that it does feel as though it's rapidly changing, and just technology and what that means for the future of dental billing.
Yeah, I know we talked with, that's what I remember from that episode too, is we did talk with her quite a bit about AI and AI's like process and involvement in dental billing and kind of what that meant for the future. And, you know, I think to some of us, the advancement of technology in general, not just AI specific, feels like it's moving at warp speed. But if you really look back to like that episode that we had with her, I mean, things have changed and things have evolved, but honestly, it's not like we have flying cars or anything crazy at this point. So I think one thing we can kind of take away from it too is like things are moving fast, but if you stay on top of it, you know, it shouldn't feel like you're moving at a breakneck speed with these changes. And that's the important thing, is to kind of be open to growth and be open to these changes and, you know, start to use them little bit by little bit.
Right. I think possibly one of the things that I talked about then was my preliminary concern years ago that like this was all going to happen overnight and we were going to be left behind. And like that absolutely has not happened. It has been slow enough for you to keep up with.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
One thing I noticed in Vine the other day was that they have that image sync where it pulls in x-rays automatically, but now they had perio sync, which was just so cool.
Yes.
No,
our team was very excited
no one
to
talked
see
about it.
It
was just there and it said new. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, what else are they going to incorporate there that could save me time?
Yeah. Our group chats were a Twitter with that news.
Clearly I missed that group chat because It just surprised me.
Yeah, I think it surprised all of us, but it was exciting.
It is sometimes I just sit back and wonder what the future is going to look like because, for example, this isn't directly related to dental billing, but the other day I told Sarah that ChatGPT just launched a web browser and I told her she needed to download it. Did you download it?
I did not. Did you?
I just downloaded it on my laptop because apparently my desktop can't handle it. But I got it. I don't have like the M2 or M3 chip or whatever. And I watched a webinar on the creators talking about it. And what's really cool is obviously it kind of looks like a regular browser. On the side, you can just kind of have a sidebar, which is ChatGPT, and you can kind of have ChatGPT interacting with the web page, asking it questions about the site or whatever you're on. Another really cool thing it can do is you can set it up to just take control of your mouse and do stuff. Like, what were they trying to do specifically? They said that they have some kind of like spreadsheet internally that they want different team members to go in.
Immediately where my brain went was like, all my spreadsheets.
Like, spreadsheet!
Yep.
Yes, where they want team members to go in and write like, I think it might have been a potluck lunch or something like that. But they wanted to go in and remind people to do this. And ChatGPT was taking the mouse, it had the commands, and it was doing all of that like behind the scenes, and you were able to like walk away and come back to it. And I was thinking, okay, like how amazing and how far is this going to go? You know what I mean? If you can just give it tasks, will we be able to do that with claims and dental billing? I'm assuming we will at some point.
Yep.
Which is, I'm saying is probably closer than we think, but how close are we actually? Dental's always like, down here somewhere. But
yes.
That was just eye-opening. I can't wait to set it free on something. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's going to be very similar to like when ChatGPT came out. It was pretty bad. The output was not good, but it got good really fast. So I'm imagining that this is going to be kind of similar.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm equal parts excited and scared. I feel like that's kind of like I feel like that's maybe like a safe approach to take to all of these things is like be open, be curious, be excited, but also have like a healthy level of like skepticism and also like quality checking these things, double checking on it. Cause I feel like that is unfortunately the kind of approach a lot of people are taking to it, is just assuming that it's correct or assuming it's giving you an absolute truth. And as we've seen many, many, many times, that is not always the case.
No. When ChatGPT gives you a picture of a snake with its eyes on its stomach, we know that errors can be made.
I was just seeing something somewhere the other day, like some lady used it to search like requirements for a flight or like a visa requirements for a country, and then took the flight to the country and did not have the accurate information because she just relied on ChatGPT and it gave her false information. So she ended up in a different country, not able to get into the country because she didn't do her due diligence and double check. So,
right.
Gotta...
It's not the end all be all, people.
Nope.
Sometimes you gotta go to actual websites and look at requirements. I actually recently did that I was going because I'm traveling and I didn't have time to get a real ID because all the appointments are booked up before I'm flying. I was renewing my passport. And I did ask ChatGPT all the things that I would need. But I made sure to double check before I went down to the post office with all of my stuff because I didn't want to be missing something or taking their word.
Was what it gave you accurate?
It was. It was. But I also kind of gave it the website to it, like...
Yeah.
I went on the post office, USPS website, and just had it read that link and summarize it for me.
Yeah. I think this is like perfectly applicable to dentistry though. Like I think people going on to ChatGPT and being like, how do I submit a dental claim? What should I include on this dental claim? Like it might give you some good general information, but like, should it be your main source of information for these things? Probably not.
No.
So, yeah.
One of the things when it first came out, And I would ask it questions about dentistry specifically, very limited on what its output was. It has gotten so much better, so which is good. But again, not the end all be all. Okay,
Yeah.
we were talking about our episode on the future of dental
sidetracked.
billing. But I guess that really does all tie in because we still know it's going in this huge direction of tech, something that I would love to see. And I know like Daydream is on the forefront of just making the whole posting of claims, payments, and matching it to EFT in your bank account, EFT deposits in your bank account, like be way easier. And we were on actually, I think you might have missed this call, which is very rare, but I was on a Dental Revenue Network call the other day, which was a deep dive with Delta Dental of Illinois, I think.
I missed the beginning part of it. I had to join later.
Oh, you did? Okay. But that was a major talking point there was how can Delta Dental and carriers specifically make this a bit easier? And there were all kinds of suggestions like, okay, could the actual name that shows up in the bank account be a little more clear or give us something? That was one thing. From the date that virtual EOBs are posted to the time the money is actually deposited in the bank account, that can really vary, which throws people off.
Or you know what we have noticed really throws us off a lot with clients too is like if they were previously posting EFTs based on when the EOBs hit the portal as opposed to when the EFT hits the bank, that can really vary too because some portals have the EOB available before the funds have even landed in the bank. So then people are posting pre-deposit landing, and some portals it's available after, and some portals it's available 2 days after, and some it's 3 days after. And like the timing mismatch, exactly like you're saying, in both directions though, is adding to the complications immensely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break from today's convo, but don't skip this part because we want to talk about something that's actually made a huge difference, especially in my practice's bottom line, and that is supply ordering.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I remember you telling me this story. You were saving a ton of money, and who were you guys using again?
We switched to Frontier Dental about a year ago. I have been loving ordering from them. Their website is super fun. Each product has 360-degree views of products, which doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But when you're trying to figure out that exact pointy, extra fine burr that your doctor wants to order, or some obscure dental instrument that you've never heard of, you want to make sure that you're actually ordering the right thing.
Yes.
So I've been loving that feature.
In those instances, the 2D magazine picture that's, hand drawn by somebody else does not cut it when you need to find that specific burr. And I have obviously been there in my offices too, where we've ordered the wrong thing because of that catalog. And then you have to do the whole return shuffle, wait for your rep to come, pick it up. Maybe you'll be able to exchange it. Maybe you won't. It's just such a headache.
Right. And the pricing is the best that I have found, honestly. So that makes me keep coming back. But besides that, we've now gotten to know their team, and their culture is just awesome. They actually care about their employees and also their customers ordering from them. And it's hard to find a vendor that can combine great prices and support like that. They're constantly reaching out to make sure that our office doesn't need anything or that everything went well. And I've just been super happy. And it's unlike any supply company that I've ordered from before.
I love it because honestly, like with a lot of these supply reps and stuff, they stop by the office and everybody knows them and everybody just feels like they're there to upsell you on stuff, which they sometimes are. But in this case, it sounds like Frontier's really there to support your practice more than anything. And I love to hear that.
Exactly. So if any of our listeners are still ordering from the same old vendor and you haven't done a price check against another company in a long time, please check out Frontier. This is your sign to do it. Their website is awesome. And when we reached out to them to ask if they could offer our listeners a discount, they agreed.
Yay!
So by using the promo code FDBOFA, we'll have that in our show notes. You can get a discount off your first order. Back to the episode.
I don't see how that is going to be remedied, really, or anytime quick. Because, again, that's more so on the carrier level. And honestly, can probably even have to do with your bank.
Exactly.
Right. Is that so dependent on your bank and how and when things post there. So,
yep.
I don't know about that one.
I know. It's a
Not
lot of moving
quite
parts.
Sure. Yes. I'm not quite sure what the solution is. All I know is I love my paper checks. And no one's taking those from me until the absolute last minute.
Until the payers really, don't want to have to pay to print stuff and mail it anymore. I think that time is coming. I mean, obviously we know that time has come already. They're trying to get people to do virtual credit cards and EFTs whenever possible. But I do foresee a world in which they just put their foot down about it and say, there's so many other options. We're not going to print and mail anymore. And then we're all going to be struggling. It's going to be one big struggle.
I'd be more open to it if they sent. Have you seen those? I forget which carriers are doing it, but they're kind of like it's just a check you can print on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. Which look so sketchy to me, but it got accepted. So
for sure, that is the one problem I had when we used to do those in office is that the check scanner for our bank didn't always like them.
Yes.
So then I would have to manually enter the check information, which not the end of the world really, but still was not perfect. But yeah, that is an interesting workaround.
Right. They're still a little dicey, but if that appeared, if I got an email from every carrier when I had my stack of EOBs with maybe one of those printable checks or something, I might be a little more open to it. But yeah. We'll
I
see.
think on the other part of this too, I think some of it is a lot of it is an office coordination thing too, because I think a lot of the reason that offices have so much difficulty reconciling this is because the office team members that are doing the payment posting don't always have access to the bank account to be able to see things. So then they're waiting for the doctor to give them, their monthly print out from the bank or from the bookkeeper to help and do it. And then, you're reconciling a whole month's worth of payments all at once. And that is not efficient or effective for anyone. So I think there's other opportunities for solutions there, not just from the payers, but also from the banks or doctors looking into solutions from the banks, read-only access for your team where they can only access your EFT checking account. And, there's other ways to kind of try to make this a little more streamlined instead of waiting for the payers to catch up, because as we know, it'll be 5 years before that, before we see the results of that.
long time. All right, and then our third most popular episode, which we're happy to talk about today, is how to transition into remote billing. And when we originally talked about this, it was really how to transition from a clinical type of role into remote dental billing. I think these are supposed to be our reflections on the episode. And to be honest, to be very, very honest, I think that is probably pretty hard to do unless you are getting some very solid and long experience in an office doing billing. And I can't picture too many offices where that is going to go that smoothly or people are going to have the opportunity to do it. It's especially hygiene. When are you getting out of the opportunity to go sit next to your admin team and learn billing?
Yep. Also, I think, thinking back to this episode, like, what was it? Like maybe number 2 or number 3 for us.
This is our second episode. This is 2 years ago.
It was one of our very first episodes. And I think that the remote dental billing landscape has changed so much since that point. It has really, we thought that it was like a saturated market back then, but it has completely blown up in the last 2 years. And so I think that's another thing too to take into consideration here, is that the competition space, like for a dental billing positions, it's tough. It's a tough competition out there. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of dental billers with a lot of experience working billing day in and day out. And so to make that transition from clinical to front without that experience, when you're competing against people who have 10, 15, 20, we see applicants with 30 years of experience all the time. So it is really hard to make yourself stand out as a clinician with minimal billing experience in this space now.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head because the big question I see asked a lot on Facebook is, are there any companies that are willing to train? And I'm not really sure I ever see anyone pipe in there and say, us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's because, people want people who can fit in and just kind of hit the ground running. That's with any position that you're hiring for. Of course, people who have applicable experience are going to be preferred and at the top of the list for the hiring pool, of course. Yeah, it's a lot of training. I was thinking, it's so much training. So much.
It really is. My reflection on that episode is exactly what you said. The game has changed a lot over the past 2 years. So let's just say you're a hygienist or you're an assistant. I would say if you really want to break into this landscape, you would really need to be doing billing specifically, like all day long, a couple days a week at your front office or training up there or something of that nature. This would not be like a show me a few things and then you're taking off flying with a billing company. So
yeah. And I think also recognize that if you are trying to like dabble, even if you were able to get, a part-time gig somewhere in the evenings or whatever for a remote billing company doing something, recognize that you're probably going to have to start with something like insurance verifications and then like work your way up to understanding more of the revenue cycle and how all of these things like intertwine and intermix. But starting small, start with one part of it instead of trying to understand the whole process and like start to get familiar with the payers and familiar with the portals. There's so many pieces and parts of the process that just try to start small. Try to tackle one little piece instead of just jumping into the whole enchilada, because it will be overwhelming. And I don't think you're going to be setting yourself up for success by just trying to jump in. Yeah,
I agree. I think kind of another related episode that we did and related to this topic is crafting a standout resume for a dental billing position, which has recently come to light in our Facebook area.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of, it goes right back to what we already said. Like the competition in this space is high. So making it sure that you are standing out in your resume, number one, in applications and the information that you're putting on an application. Like I can say, as somebody doing hiring day in and day out, I don't put those questions on an application for fun. Like, I want to see what your answers are, and your answers are going to really indicate to me if you might be a good fit for us. And this ties back into a conversation we just had a minute ago. If you are using AI to answer the questions on your application, I can tell. Yes, it is clear that you are using AI. I don't know how else to like tell this to you, is like all of us are familiar enough with using it now. We can kind of tell the AI generated answers. And also there are programs that help read through things to know it's AI recognizing AI and saying, yeah, that seems AI generated. Like you're not fooling anyone. by using a straight up AI answer. And that also doesn't really make me, yes, I appreciate that you're using AI. That's great. You're tech savvy.
Right.
I love that. But I want to hear from you as a person, because AI is not doing your job day in and day out. So I just think resume, yes, having it well crafted. I just talked to somebody earlier this week who didn't even have their most recent job on their resume. So they were talking to me about something that they were doing. And I was like, wait, you're doing this at, ABC Dental? And she was like, oh no, that was my last job. I'm now doing this at whatever. And I was like, okay, so resume is not up to date. And she was like, no. Okay, well, that's a bummer.
That actually happens a lot. Oh, I didn't update my resume. How hard is it to update your resume?
Yes.
What platform are you crafting this on?
I don't know.
That you can't go in and make an update.
Yep. So updated resume, clean resume that kind of reflects you a little bit. And then also just take your time to do the application and do it, a little bit personally, not completely just AI answers for everything.
I think the biggest thing I'm seeing right now is people very upset that they are
not qualified,
not chosen for a position, or their application is rejected. And that's with various different companies.
Yeah.
And they automatically have this mindset that their experience equates to what I'm calling mastery of the subject. I think many of us have worked in an office in a managerial position, a lot of former practice managers, and we know that we have hired people who have had a ton of experience. And for example, I remember at my practice, I hired a former practice manager. I was very intimidated, and she was just applying for like treatment coordinator or something. I don't want to say just, but that's what she was doing. She was taking a step down, quote unquote. And I was super intimidated to hire her because I was the office manager. I thought, is she going to be stepping on my toes, or what is it going to be like? She was quite a bit older than me, a lot of experience, and I could run circles around her. I'm not trying to be mean, but she made mistakes all the time posting insurance payments and just mistakes in general. And that was like one of my biggest learning lessons there. And that's happened to me many, many times. I've hired other people for front office who had been in dental and doing front office for many decades who couldn't read a ledger. So experience just does not equate to being the absolute best at, in this situation, remote billing.
Yeah. I think there's also just so many other characteristics and skills that make somebody a good, this is the case for any position, right? Like that makes somebody a good employee, first of all, like dependability, reliability, gonna show up on time, those kind of characteristics that we all look for in any position. But then when you consider somebody who's working remote, like somebody has to be pretty willing to do some troubleshooting, has to be tech savvy enough to figure out how to navigate, web browsers, and if your computer doesn't work, what do you need to do to like try to get it to turn on, because nobody is sitting next to you going to help you out with these things. And those skills and characteristics are so important in a remote position, and I think people kind of like overlook the importance of some of that.
Oh, they're way underestimating it.
Yeah,
way underestimating it. I complain, I guess I'll use the word complain, to Sarah a lot about how no one knows how to use a computer. And again, recently hired a front desk gal who is my age, so I'm not giving her a lot of leeway here. She's been an assistant for years and years, but never worked at the front desk. She was very unfamiliar with how to send an email, how to read an email thread.
What?
But I know. She's like, well, I have only really ever done this on my phone. You know what I mean? Convert a JPEG to a PDF, all of that kind of stuff that, when you are working front office comes along with importing x-rays and records and all that stuff from other offices. And then again, right, but she has me next to her. How do I do this? Ooh, something happened to my computer. Can you fix it? if you are at home
Yeah.
alone, and this is all new software really, because I think a lot of the people applying for these jobs, like, they've probably been working at a practice for a long time, and they're used to Dentrix, and they're used to this, but they're not used to all the other things that are required when you work remotely.
Yep.
And there's a big learning curve to it. There's such a big learning curve to it. And you're right, vastly underestimated. Now, people, I say this because Sarah and I have really lived it hard for the past however many years now. We've onboarded people who have never worked remotely before, and they're like, oh, no, I've been doing this for however long, and then they're struggling hard to do very, very, what we consider basic computer-related tasks. So I think that's the part that's kind of getting, like, underrepresented.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is I was just talking to somebody the other day, too, about this, and they were saying, or like had mentioned, that like it makes sense that kind of our generation, like millennial, elder millennial-ish, is really good and really strong at this like troubleshooting with technology and finding workarounds and making it work, because when we were growing up, technology was kind of like just starting out or just coming on the scene, and it was crappy, and we had to do a ton of troubleshooting, like, you know, hard reset your computer, unplug this and wait 30 seconds and plug it back in and see if that works. Like, that's my go-to for literally everything.
Yes. Blowing into your video game cartridge.
Yes,
that's where
exactly.
it started, and then it just took off from there.
Yep. And then, but she pointed out that, like, you know, younger generations or kids who are, you know, used to technology, like, technology has been in their life since day one, and it's actually been in their life since day one working pretty dang well. So when it doesn't work, they are just like, wait, what? It's not working? The Wi-Fi is not on. I don't have internet. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because they don't often have to troubleshoot it. So it's like a whole different mindset, a whole different approach to technology and skills and all of this, because they're just not used to things being problematic like we are, I guess. I don't know. So I had never thought about that approach, but I was like, oh, that is very interesting.
I hadn't thought of that either. It does make a lot of sense. I mean, we grew up with it and just kept evolving with it as well.
Yeah.
And learning as it came along and continuing to, obviously. The younger generation, too, they're so used to tablets and phones and things that, like, a real computer sometimes can throw them a little bit. Or, you know, maybe they did use one kind of in their younger years of school, but after that, like, not.
You know what is hilarious? As I just talked to somebody, like, this maybe happened last week or 2 weeks ago, someone extremely tech savvy I mentioned something to them about faxing. I was like, oh God. if we can't get eligibility and benefits on the portal, we have to make a phone call, you know, we'll request a fax with fax back stuff. And they were like, so how do you get that? Like, do you have to have a fax machine, and like, does it like print out paper? And I was like,
that would be nice.
No, actually, it's all digital now. Like there are options for that. But it just cracked me up that they were immediately like thinking back to a good old fashioned fax machine that I haven't seen in 10 years, probably, honestly.
Time. I'm trying to think when I saw my last one.
Who even still has a phone jack, like, to be able to to plug it into?
Right. I would say probably 4 or 5 years ago, I saw one. I saw one in the wild. Well, it was actually at my practice, and I was getting rid of it because we had gone over to eFax. And, like, I got rid of it on Facebook Marketplace. Someone came to get it. What was he doing with it? His name was Lucky. I even remember his name. What was he doing with that fax machine? I would love to know. I think he had a small business or something. It was weird.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why that was, it's funny how it works in both ways. Like people who are trying to figure out being tech savvy, and then people who are extremely tech savvy having to figure out the dental landscape, which is not tech savvy. So it's like you got to work in like both directions here. You can't be too tech savvy because you won't be able to like figure out how to fax a claim, but you can't be not tech savvy enough. We're in a weird middle ground here.
That is true. Teresa was just saying the other day how when everything happened with the Change Healthcare hacking and people were like mailing claims, they were so confused at how to do that.
Yeah.
Like some of them were saying, oh, I'm individually sending them in separate envelopes.
No.
What?
You
Your
bust
age
out
is
the
showing
manila,
here.
bust out the
Yes!
manila folder. Like, no, we're fitting
Right.
100 in here.
Exactly. We're putting 100 in, and like back in the day, I already had like my pre-stamped labels for each insurance company. It was all streamlined.
Where's your
people.
window envelopes? We're not printing labels for anything. Get the window envelope out.
Oh, so funny. All right, so to kind of round out our last...
Rein it back in here.
I know. Our last most popular episode there is the marketplace and the competitiveness for a handful of billing jobs that are out there is fierce. And please, try not to take these things too personally when you're not selected. I honestly have offered many people to review their resume and let them know what I think of it or what I think is holding them back. No one's taken me up on it, but I'm here and I'm waiting. So
Yeah.
It's a tough space. I think maybe some of our listeners know that I do a bit of business coaching now. Some younger billing company owners. By that, I don't mean their age. I just mean where they're at in their journey of business. They're just smaller companies looking to grow, or they're just looking to get started, period. And one of the first questions that I ask them as a billing company owner is, what makes you the expert? And one of my recent coaching clients didn't have an answer to that. I said, what are you doing that is making you keep your finger on the pulse of just dental billing in general, of carriers, of dental plans, of legislation, things like that? And the answer was nothing. They weren't doing anything. And it's like, okay, well, when's the last time you've taken a class on this topic? Again, no answer. So those are all things that I used to really like to see on a resume for someone who was applying to my billing company was, what were you doing to keep your skills sharp? What associations were you a part of? Anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, and that is part of the problem too, is especially if you are going into dental billing like ownership and you're not really the one doing the dental billing day in and day out, it's very easy to get removed from the process, removed from all of those changes and details. And so, yeah, you do have to make a conscious effort to stay up on it. I mean, I think sometimes even office managers can kind of like fall out of the loop if they're not the ones doing the actual billing day in and day out. Like, you can lose track of those things. Who's paying on, like fee schedule these days? Who is requiring stuff for buildups? Cigna's the notorious offender there for needing the seat date. But I would not put it past another payer to come up with something like that soon is going to be notorious and understood by every insurance coordinator, but might be missed by office managers even. So you do have to make an actual true concerted effort to stay on top of those things, because otherwise you just lose track.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of glad you said that, because this person in particular is a current practice manager looking to branch off and start a billing company. She is not doing the billing at her current office. And when I was asking her questions about it, the answers were dicey. So, and I think when I owned my billing company and Sarah and I were working together, that was something we came, and I don't know, maybe you still do come across this, but we came across that a lot. I've been a practice manager for 20 years, blah, blah, but they can't do, like, they couldn't fill out an insurance verification because they hadn't done it in so long.
Yep.
And that is something to really think about, is if you haven't done this in a bit, if you're not actively doing it, what are your goals here? Is your goal really to just work from home, or are you passionate about dental billing? Those are like two different sentiments.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I am unsure if we're going to do this because we said we were going to do this before in Texas, but like I thought it'd be fun to record a live episode at the Do Retreat. Not thinking we'll get the time, but you know.
We might be too busy finding a good restaurant.
Yeah,
we shall see. You know what we need to do really is just plan a trip specifically for a live recording. I think that should be our motivation to get together again somewhere.
Somewhere warm.
Yes, preferably, so that we can record a live episode. That'll be our whole reason behind getting together.
Well, I like that. It's hard for Sarah and I because, like, we like going warm places. Who doesn't? But if we are trying to meet somewhere in the middle that's warm, that really brings us to Texas and
Iowa.
Not really known for its great, hot, sunny, beautiful beaches, you know?
Yep. Or a bunch of landlocked states, which same thing. We can't really get some fun beach time in a landlocked state,
Tropical.
sadly.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.